Kids, cover your ears because I'm about to blow a lid. So Mikael Granlund has been traded to a divisional rival in Nashville for Kevin Fiala. That's it. 1 for 1. I'm sorry, I have to. Like, how did we make that trade? Who in the right mind made that trade? I'm assuming this trade wasn't just made by one person. I'm assuming there's like people around hearing this. Somebody must have tried to stop that. In some kind of way, somebody must have tried to stop that trade from happening, because on paper that just sounds so bad. I don't know who is on the Minnesota Wild staff rooms, but somebody should have taken the phone from Fenton, thrown it out of the window, and just for good measure made sure that phone was broken. I don't care if you have to take Fenton hostage, make sure that trade does not happen. I saw the rumors about Granlund being traded. I knew that was a thing that could happen. However, for that, no, never in my wildest dream was I imagining that trade happening. Because why in God's name would you make that trade? The only reason I can see that trade happening is due to his age, being 4 years younger than Granlund and having produced in a decent pace. I think Fiala has been a good player, don't get me wrong, Fiala is a fine player, and I like that he's on the Minnesota Wild. But for Mikael Granlund, I'm not so sure. Had this been for Jason Shakeup, I would have been more happy. I would have been a little bit more reasonable. I would have been a little bit more like, okay, we get Kevin Fiala. He's done fairly well in Nashville. For Granlund, no, not even close to that. We take on a guy who is probably more of that, exactly, the Jason Shakeup type of guy who maybe gets you 50 points, who gets you around 50, 40 points. This is good for a guy who gets you 70 points. Can you see my struggle here? Fiala is a fine player. He isn't a bust by any stretch of the imagination. I got to watch him last year doing this entire event. This event was where I watched Fiala. But I also got to see Granlund. I watched him on the eye. I know exactly who I want the most. I would rather have Granlund than Fiala. No knock on Fiala, but Granlund is great. And Granlund is one of the guys who has been the epitome of the Minnesota Wild for such a long time. He has been one of our hopes and dreams of this team actually becoming good again. He was one of our prospects during the time we got Parise and Suter. He was going to be that young kid who would lead the line and help them win the cup. And now he's gone before Kaprizov joins, which was our new shining star, shining knight in armor, shining Russian. And then he leaves before that. Who's going to pass the puck to Kaprizov? Suter? No, I don't see that. Fiala? He's not exactly that. He's, again, a bit like Suter. He's fast, he has a lot of speed, he's not scared of going into the areas where you kind of grind it out. But he's not necessarily that skilled a passer. That's what Granlund was good at. That was Granlund's strengths. Nashville fans, you got yourself a great player. You got yourself a fantastic passer with a lot of vision, a lot of skill. If you doubt his skill, just watch his goal he scored against Russia in the World Juniors, where he puts it on the stick in overtime. You know what? Might as well just do like crossplay and put it into the back of the net, score an overtime winner that way. In a gold medal game, by the way. In a gold medal game. I was so excited to see the line of Kaprizov, Granlund, and Parise. I think that line could have done so well. If you didn't want to have Parise, you could put in Greenway there. Just fine. Parise could have easily swapped with Greenway, and that line would have been great. We would have a sniper, we would have a playmaker, and we would have a grinder. Or a power forward, I guess. Imagine that line in the NHL. That line would have done so well. And you can kind of compare a line like that to the one they have in Colorado, where it's Rantanen, Landeskog, and McKinnon. You have your super skilled guy in McKinnon, you have your goal scorer in Rantanen, and you have your kind of tough, not scared of going to the boards guy in Landeskog. We had that line completely on the lock. We had him. So to bring some sort of structure to this unstructured video, because guess what, it happened like 20 minutes ago. It's raw footage of me basically reacting to news that I just heard. I did like the mildest of research towards this. But what we are getting is a fast player with a lot of upside, who's still talented, who sounds good on paper, but God, that was not a good trade. He was a big part of the Swiss team that made it all the way to the final and almost beat the Swedes in the World Championship in Denmark. And you can go say, oh, the championship, that doesn't have proper NHLs. Well, it had Fiala, it had Nino Ryder, it had great NHLs from Sweden. That was definitely a good tournament, and he was a big part of the underdog story there. So is Fiala going to be a good player? Absolutely. I think he's going to be fine with the Minnesota Wild. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised to see him work well with a guy like Suter, just have that speedy line that nobody can really catch pressure because he is so fast, and if you cover one guy, you have to cover the next fast guy, and that's gonna be a lot of breakaways, I think. But I was hoping that if Granlund would have gone to Nashville, which I saw early on was a possibility, I was imagining somebody like Elo Toivonen coming the other way around. It didn't happen that way, or at least the first didn't happen that way. Now, what does the trade mean? Well, it means the rebuild is on fully. This is a full-on sign that the rebuild is on. Granlund was probably our best player, and we traded him away. You do not do that if you don't think this team is going to make the playoff and actually win the playoff. You make these trades to improve in the future, and that's what the Minnesota Wild have tried to do. I don't agree with the move. I don't think Fenton has done well for himself, and I think this will be a severe lack of trust going into the draft. He has to have a bang-on draft where he gets everything right. If he does that, maybe this is a good trade. Because what we need now is center depth, which we do not have anything of. Especially because we haven't done anything to Eric Staal, so he's still on. We need to re-sign him, which I'm assuming we are going to do. If he didn't want to go, he has to be resigned, right? So that's going to be a resigning that we have to do. We also have a few other pieces, but we do need center depth. Because right now we have Koivu, Staal, Ek, Fair. And we need a center badly, or we need somebody with some vision that can really pass the puck. We need an elite player to replace him. I don't know what Fenton's going to do. I could see him try to go for something like Panarin. I know that's a really, really big ask, and I think it's probably likely that Chicago's going to try and get him. But I could see Fenton try and pull something out the hat and get Panarin. If we get Panarin to play with Kaprizov, I'm starting to like it a little bit more. If that's the reason Fenton has done this, to get the cap room to afford Panarin and Kaprizov, I'm getting more behind this move. But overall, this is just a gut-wrenching trade, isn't it? I think we could have gotten more for Granlund. I think we could have gotten more. In Nashville, you got yourself a player with so much skill, so much ability that he could easily be a player perennial in your potential first cup. And if that happens, I will be happy for Granlund. I will be sad for the Minnesota Wild because I think that would literally cement this trade as one of the worst that had happened. Potentially after the Niederreiter trade. But again, Fenton has to have an ace draft where he finds somebody and he has to have an ace free agency. If he doesn't have any of those, I kind of see the noose being tied a little bit around his neck. I hate bringing that up, but he hasn't done well in this first year, in my opinion. He's been very secure until he then hasn't, and then fire sailed everything in a way I think we could have done better, far better. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know what Preds fans think. Let me know what Minnesota Wild fans think. Do we have any kind of upside to this? What is it? Do we have an idea of what to do next? Are we gonna make the playoff with Fiala? Something like that. Let me know what you guys think about this, and I'll see you guys next time.